Hello, family. Lisa and I have decided to do a blog. Okay, stop. We're serious. We wanted to do a blog.
Or a gold, spelled backwards.
A blog just to our family on a weekly basis. And weekly. And we just wanted to talk about how important family is to us. And why are you looking over there?
Where?
Over there. There. Yeah, look there. Here's the camera over here.
I'm looking at you.
No, look at the camera. And so we just wanted to just take a few minutes of your time and just to let you know.
We met, your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met, your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my summer love. Been waiting for you, my love.
What is up, everybody? This is Titus Nietzsche Anderson for the Sovrumano videocast. How are you guys doing today? This weekend we're going to talk about displacement. And the reason we're going to talk about displacement is because it's a very real part of our lives. When you play games, when you engage in warfare, and when you engage in business and in your social life, you're always engaging in displacement. As you guys know, as a result of the publishing that I've done at sovrumano.com, there are signs of genocide, there are signs of poison everywhere, and there are people who are declaring war in a settled land, which is the United States of America. Well, there isn't any such thing as war in settled land. What we have is domestic terrorism. You can find codified hate speech in everything from People magazine to movies by Marvel Studios. And I've pointed this out before that we are funding our own terrorism and terrorist attacks when we patronize some of these companies. These are calls for genocide and calls for sacrifice. So for this weekend, I am going to cover some new material with you. It's not going to be the same thing that you've seen before. And I'm going to show you some new perspectives on this subject material. By the way, I told you, if you follow the Twitter feed this week, I told you that I found a new sign. Let me say that again. If you follow the Twitter feed, you know that earlier this week I told you that I had found another sign, or something that I'm isomorphic with, or something that I'm analogous to, and that these things are something that are significant. When they asked Jung what the difference was between a coincidence and a synchronicity, he replied, it's meaning. That's what makes it substantial, or that's what differentiates it. So as many of you know, I have things in common with many previous legends from many different texts. It's not just the Bible, although people are quick to call me a Jew. I'm not Jewish at all. But I have things in common with Abel, Joseph, Jesus Christ crucifixion, Jesus Christ resurrection, Krishna, the German philosophers' desire for an Übermensch, Samson, and probably 2 or 3 others. I might even accidentally be Hollywood's prodigal son as well, totally by accident. It's not something that I'm trying to do or be. Anyway, I told you that I would share what this new sign is with you, and you saw a clue or a hint of it in the opening sequence. But before I share that with you and show you what it is, I want you to watch the opening sequence one more time and learn to sensitize yourself to the codified hate speech that is all around you. One thing I did want to mention real quick before I show you this video sequence again: don't go after the actors. If you happen to know actors in Hollywood or the actors in these pictures or movies or something like that, please realize that they could be commissioned actors, not hate mongers, and they may just be following instructions that they're given. Because we don't know them, we're not going to go after them, okay? That's not the purpose of this video. All right, let's take a look.
Hello, family. Lisa and I have decided to do a blog. Okay, stop. We're serious. We wanted to do a blog.
Or gulp, spelled backwards.
A blog just to our family on a weekly basis. And weekly. And we just wanted to talk about how important family is to us. And why are you looking over there?
Where?
Over there. There. Yeah, look there. Here's the camera over here.
I'm looking at you.
No, look at the camera. And so we just wanted to just take a few minutes of your time and just to let you know.
Alright, so did you figure out what it is? Look at my eyes very closely and you will see. My eyes are slightly asymmetrical, and it's just a small birth defect. It's nothing major. But I realized earlier this week when I posted it on my Twitter feed that one of the signs that this clan of people uses, and they've been using it since before I was born apparently, I think it's coming from England because you see Benny Hill from the Benny Hill show using it, is to have one eye open, or one eye that's slightly asymmetrical with the other one. I happen to have eyes that are asymmetrical, and I thought that was kind of funny that I would be born that way and that I would also find myself in this situation. And I mean, I wasn't born to be sacrificed for these people, but it's a funny marking to notice because even Jesus Christ knew that his purpose was to be a sacrifice and an example for the people around him, or at least according to that story. And I thought it was kind of weird that that I find myself in this situation and that my family and myself are being clan hunted by people right here in the United States of America. But that's not all. If you take a close look at the satanic sculpture that you saw in the opening sequence, if you ever get a chance to examine it a little more closely, then what you will notice is that the little boy is African and the little girl appears to be Mexican or Latina. And my father was African and my mother was Mexican. And that's yet another coincidence that I don't have anything to do with. But these things keep happening to me, and I've showed them on Instagram, like the tattoos on my shoulder that are 25 years old, and some other things that I'm analogous with. But that's not the purpose for this video. I thought it was kind of a peculiar thing to notice, and so I thought I would share that with you. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk displacement. The most fair thing that I thought I could do would be to take a look at the total number of Caucasians in each country. Most of the hate speech that you'll see is not directed at Caucasian people. But that doesn't mean that Caucasians won't be sacrificed. Caucasians are sacrificed all of the time. But still, you have to assume that our military budgets and judicial pardons and cheating during contests, and gaming, and business is really by Caucasians and for Caucasians. So, Europe has about 711 million people, and they supposedly had 4.2 million children last year. The United States of America has about 235 million Caucasians, and they had about 6.2 million births last year. Feel free to double check these numbers if you want. Now, according to some economists, we are losing trillions of dollars here in the United States due to a lack of industriousness by these people. I don't know what trillions is. I don't know if that's 2 million or if it's 7 trillion or if it's 10 trillion. I'm certain it's several trillion, but for the sake of this illustration, I'm going to stick with 1 trillion. If we take $1 trillion and we divide it by the total number of Caucasians in America, it's $4,255 lost for each Caucasian in this country. Our military budget is at $934 billion. If you divide that by the total number of Caucasians, it's $3,974 per Caucasian that we will lose. You add those two figures together, it's $8,229 that we lose as soon as a Caucasian person is born. If they live 75 years, that number jumps to $323,000 that we will lose right off the bat. But that doesn't begin to tell the whole story. There's also health insurance fraud. Health insurance fraud costs $68 billion a year. That breaks down to $289 per Caucasian. Climate change from all of the fossil fuel burning is $100 billion. If you divide that by the number of Caucasians in America, you get $425. If you take business fraud here in America, it's $652 billion, which breaks down to $2,774 per Caucasian. But that still doesn't account for all of their costs. The granddaddy of them all is the United States national deficit, which is $20 trillion. That breaks down to $85,000 per Caucasian in this country. If you add up those figures together, you will get $96,823 that we lose for every single Caucasian in the United States. If you multiply that number by 75, you get $7,261,000. Excuse me, you get $7,261,725 lost for every Caucasian in the United States that spends their life here. All right, were you guys able to catch all of those numbers? If I take this, the national deficit out of the equation, which is $20 trillion, every time a Caucasian is born in America, we lose $505,000 right off the bat. If I factor in the national deficit, then the number jumps to $7,261,000 that we lose every time a Caucasian is born. But that doesn't begin to tell the whole story. We have domestic terrorism, we have wrongful death suits, we have a suppression of civil rights, we have business discrimination and harassment, we have sexual harassment, we have rape charges, we have microplastics in the ocean, we have CO2 emissions, we have the 6th mass extinction of animals, we have ocean acidification, we have topsoil that's dried up and no longer any good, and we have our military putting weapons, and rifles, and other items in the hands of third world nations and encouraging them to fight. That adds up to a lot, and it's very difficult to put a price tag on those things. They aren't quantified anywhere, and they're not going to be published anywhere. But I am going to give you one example of the type of immorality that we're talking about. In the year 2001, President Bush said that we were attacked by Al-Qaeda during the 9/11 attacks. And as a result of that, we invaded Iraq in pursuit of weapons of mass destruction. That invasion cost the United States of America thousands of lives. It took thousands of lives over there in Iraq. It displaced 37 million people. And a lot of people died without water, medical assistance, or anything else. Those types of crimes are impossible to put a price tag on. But it gets even worse. I have told you before that Sovrumano is the world's #1 intelligence agency. I am going to give you a glimpse of the world through Sovrumano's eyes. And we're going to start with President Bush's whereabouts on September the 11th, 2001, while he is addressing a classroom full of school children.
That sentence, get ready.
She played with her goat in her house.
Go on.
She played with her goat in her yard.
Good job. Go on.
But the goat did something that made the girl sad.
Let's clean that up. Get ready. Try with but. Get ready.
But the goat.
All right, and now here he is with a presidential address and a State of the Union address on September the 20th, 2001.
Americans are asking, why do they hate us? They hate what they see right here in this chamber, a democratically elected government. Their leaders are self-appointed. They hate our freedoms, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, our freedom to vote and assemble and disagree with each other. They want to overthrow existing governments in many Muslim countries, such as Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. They want to drive Israel out of the Middle East. They want to drive Christians and Jews out of vast regions of Asia and Africa. These terrorists kill not merely to end lives, but to disrupt and end a way of life. With every atrocity, they hope that America grows fearful, retreating from the world and forsaking our friends. They stand against us because we stand in their way. We're not deceived by their pretenses to piety. We have seen their kind before. They're the heirs of all the murderous ideologies of the 20th century.
I've been an investigative reporter and a journalist for 35 years. I've worked in every major media market in the United States, and I've written for more than 100 newspapers and magazines nationally and internationally. So last September 17th, I became the first journalist in U.S. history to go to the U.S. National Archives and the Library of Congress and pore over the thousands of pages of documents in both places to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt or any refutation of the facts that Prescott Bush, the grandfather of George W. Bush, and George Herbert Walker, his maternal great-grandfather for whom his daddy is named, were Nazi traitors to the country who should have been tried for treason. 2 weeks ago, in early August, a major world newspaper, The Guardian of London, finally got on the story internationally, and they flew a renowned reporter.
By sacrificing human life to serve.
They were shocked into the realization of the roots of the old pagan world. They desired to set themselves apart as something different. In fact, it is estimated.
By abandoning every value except the will to power, they follow in the path of fascism, Nazism, and totalitarianism. And they will follow that path all the way to where it ends, in history's unmarked grave of discarded lies.
All right, are you catching on now? The cost for a Caucasian baby is not $1,000 in losses, it's not $10,000 in losses, it's not $1 million in losses. It's not 3 of my children in exchange for 1 of your children's births. The cost for a Caucasian child is death, is literally what the numbers are telling us. I am not a racist, I don't have a racist bone in my body, but that's literally the cost for the damage to our earth, the damage to our country. Technically, the United States of America doesn't even exist anymore because of the treason and the backdooring and the jailbreaking of all of our judicial and economic and societal systems by white Caucasian males who are struggling to stay here and to remain here. I said it before that nobody loves a white Caucasian male like another white Caucasian male, not even the women. And there's very good reason for that. They need a lot of help to stick around, and they're also in a very peculiar existential situation. I showed you the opening skit with Benny Hill. Benny Hill kind of personifies the personality types of the Gaussian belt talent, that talent that's clogging the arteries of our military bases, sheriff's departments, and police stations, trying to hang around, trying to bully people, practicing witchcraft, and doing stupid things at people from the safety of a military base or a police uniform. What you don't understand about these people and their existential situation is this. Although he may want to be desirable and be the first pick of the ladies, he isn't. Not necessarily. But the women are some of the most sought after among all of the women around. And that creates an asymmetry. That asymmetry is what's causing him to create these coping strategies, these alternative religions, this narcissism, this rationalization that by some act of God I am worth it, or our clan warfare is justified, or my consumption is justified, or my waste is justified, or my crime is justified. None of those things are true. We have a lot of talent standing outside of this country that wants to move into this country, that has a good head on their shoulders, that's very talented, and far more astute sociologically when it comes to getting along. Also, I want you to realize this. Our world doesn't just work in complements. It also works in cycles, and it also works in degrees. It's not impossible that a person or a group's utility has run its natural course or its natural cycle of profitability that could apply to these some of these people as a group. That's something to keep in mind. With regards to degrees, there isn't anything wrong with people being of a mixed heritage. Now, I'm not trying to erase a culture or threaten a culture in Europe or in parts of America or anything like that. However, you need to take into consideration the fact that without you applying these heuristics to the group and trying to hold everybody down and beat them down into it, that people will naturally mix and mingle with each other. By the way, earlier this week, if you happen to catch it on the Twitter feed, I had mentioned that there could be a complement to the silhouette idea that's on the Purge seminar page. During the Purge seminar, I had asked, is it possible that you could stand in the silhouette of Jesus Christ, even if it was just for a moment? Could you stand in the silhouette of Einstein or Leonardo da Vinci? Indeed, you could, even if it was just for a moment. And I realized earlier this week that there could be a corollary to that, meaning that whenever you see dictators state that they stand for Nazism, fascism, totalitarianism, and so forth, that it's really a breaking down of the human being and their individuality, that you're stripping parts away from them, that it's a deformation and a reformation of that person, but not according to their own free will. And that in turn makes you an interlocking piece with other pieces to their puzzle. When you put those pieces together, what you end up with is literally a vision or a picture that the dictator has in mind for his own personal indulgences or fantasies. And I thought that was a peculiar compliment to that idea. I want you to be careful of people out there who are so weak and so pathetic that they'll invent reasons to kill people. Like, their numbers were so large, I had to kill him. Their numbers were so small, I had to kill him. He was too good looking, I had to kill him. Those people were so ugly, I had to kill him. They were getting too close to us, I had to kill him. Those people were so far away, I went on ahead and killed them. Those people had a lot of money, so we killed them. Those people were so poor, so we went on ahead and killed them. They're moving too fast for us, so we killed them. They moved too slow for us, so I killed him. I mean, some of these white Caucasian males are pathetic in their ability to handle a fair marketplace and a fair workspace. That's going to wrap it up for this week's video cast. I'm going to owe you an apology because I was going to cover some privacy issues, but I think we're getting close to the 30-minute mark on the video cast, so I'm going to have to cover those with you some other time. Do not allow yourself to be clan hunted, and do think carefully about any retaliatory actions that you decide to take. You are not born to be a mark for these people. We are not to have police officers dressed up in American uniforms clan hunting us for sport, or teaching their children how to do it and get away with it, or any of those things. I don't think this has ever been done before in world history. So, something to think about, and next time we'll go over some strategy and things like that. All right? All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.